What's up, and welcome to another edition of Viking Vibes, the St. Joseph by the Sea High School experience, a exclusive podcast and web series dedicated to all things St. Joseph by the Sea High School. Today, we're fortunate to have with us Miss Karen Moog, who is a former Sea alum, class of 79, former administrator at St. Joseph by the Sea, and more importantly and more proudly, this year's Distinguished Alumni Award Winner at the upcoming St. Joseph by the Sea annual dinner and award ceremony being held at the Old Bermuda Inn in April. So, Karen, welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get into the fun stuff and the awards and all that stuff, for anyone listening or watching who has ever been in the halls of St. Joe's, you are synonymous with St. Joe's. And I always joke with you, and I always used to say, without you, the building is going to collapse, because that's how intricate a part and intricate a role you play in all of the goings on at St. Joe's. So it's a pleasure to have you here. And I know I speak on behalf of all those who made the decision to honor you this year when I say we probably could not have picked a more deserving person. So congratulations on your award this year.
Thank you
at the
very
gala.
much.
Now, before we talk about all that, I want to go into the origin story, right? So just tell us a little bit about Karen before the Sea Days.
Before the Sea Days. So I grew up in Grasmere on Staten Island with my family. I had two sisters. My older sister went to sea. She actually entered sea in 1973, the first year that it was co-ed.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even realize that. Okay.
So back then it was, I'm going to do what my sister does, and I'm going to go to sea, and she loves it. And so I went to sea. I just made the best decision of my life to do that.
Right.
Being at sea is one of the best decisions I've made. So after I graduated sea, I moved on to Catherine Gibbs School in Manhattan.
Of course.
Graduated from there, went out into the workforce and was working at Philip Morris USA.
See, I didn't know that either.
Tobacco company.
There you go.
I was there for 13 years.
Wow.
I worked for the executive vice president of marketing.
Wow.
The only female, by the way, executive at the company at the time.
So that's where you get the chops from. I know you're getting it from. Yeah,
she trained me excellent. I owe a lot to her. I still keep in touch with her.
Of course.
After 13 years, I decided to stay home and raise my family.
Good decision.
When I decided to do that, they at Philip Morris asked me if I would remain on a consultant basis, and I remained on to specifically organize their annual marketing conferences around different states every year.
How did I never know any of this? I'm so glad you're here.
I know.
That's awesome.
So I did that for a few years, had my second daughter. Then I always said, when Jennifer, my youngest, and by the way, my oldest daughter, Megan, is a 2009 graduate of
course.
SEA, as well as Jennifer, who's a 2012
You got to keep it in the family.
Of course. So I always said that when Jennifer went to school, kindergarten, I'm going back to work. I have to go back to work. I want to do something. I didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do. I really didn't think I'd go back and forth to Manhattan at that point. At
And
Sunday
to be fair,
Mass.
with that background and that resume, you probably could have done anything you wanted to.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I
I'll
mean?
take it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
agree. At the time, Philip Morris is a very prestigious company to work for. So anyway, I was at Sunday Mass one Sunday, and in the bulletin, there was an ad for a job at sea.
Really?
And
the bulletin.
in
Who
the
knew?
alumni office.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to apply. And I did, and it's all history.
The rest
now.
is history.
Yeah, so I started in the alumni office as an assistant, then moved up to director for a short period of time. And then in 2006, I started at sea actually in 2000.
Okay.
2006, I moved upstairs to work as assistant to the principal and worked for Father Riley. And I remained there until 2021 when I retired.
It's such a sad day.
For me.
Such a
for
sad
me
day.
as well.
Everyone in
yes.
the building. They don't
Very
know what to do with
bittersweet.
themselves.
Honestly, I miss it.
Yeah, listen, I tell you, the building misses you. Believe me when I tell you, everyone there misses you. I
Thank
speak
you.
because I know anyone who ever walks through that hall, don't get me wrong, Mama Chris, Miss Rossiello, fantastic
best.
job. Absolute best. But you know what? You got accustomed to the way of doing business, if that makes sense. The
Right.
way you operated and the way it was.
And I have a different background than she does to be in that position. And
Yeah.
so everybody does it their own way, but I do miss it.
So let's go back just a little bit before we come to the present. Let's talk about what were you involved with then at St. Joe's? It was a different world, right? It was a completely different school, campus.
Yes.
Everything was different.
Extremely different.
So what were you doing at St. Joe's?
So at St. Joe's, I was freshman and sophomore year. I was captain of the JV cheerleading.
Nice.
Junior, senior year, varsity cheerleading.
So I said that before we started rolling, just as I didn't know that. I just made that up. I said, okay, good. Very,
Also student council.
of course.
Much, obviously, smaller class. Right. My graduating class was just over 160.
But that's great because you developed those bonds that you discussed and you're really making friendships. And the alumni
I have
then
made lifelong friendships.
Right.
To this day, I'm in touch with many of my friends and several of them closely. Yeah, it's just part of my life.
You were there. So I'm bad at math. And you know me, I'm bad at math just from experience. But so 21 years. 2000
Yes,
okay.
21.
So for 21 years, you were, and I say this, the backbone of everything going on because you were the mediator between almost every office and every department.
I tried.
That's fair to say. Is that a fair assumption? I mean, literally the mediator between whether it's academic, whether it was the development with our end of the office, whether it was anything, you're the intermediary and just the go-to person to get things done. And it was greatly appreciated. So then when it became time for this award to come up, and now you've been involved with this since we've been doing it on the back, helping us organize, execute, everything. I don't remember, but how did Father let you know? I'm interested because I know how you were decided on unanimously, by the way.
He really didn't let me know.
He didn't? Okay.
He let my husband know.
I never heard that story.
Unbeknownst to me, we were invited to go to the cocktail reception, the benefactors reception. A couple of times Father said, you're going to go, right? You're going to go. And a few people, yeah, I'm going to go. And I said to my husband, we're going to go and whatever. Okay, so we go. When Father announced it, that was the first I heard of it. And I knew, I've known for weeks.
That's
I said,
funny.
And Father told him to make sure that he
sure
got
you were
me
present,
there, which I, of course, would have gone no matter what. But no, that was the first I knew of it.
That's right. So when you were at the benefactors reception, we were there filming it. Again, we did see, I didn't know you were, so I didn't know if you knew or not on my end, but I saw the surprise and then you gave your speech, which was great. You spoke. So now talk about, because it's interesting. We've been giving out the Distinguished Alumni Award Winner since inception. And I'm not going to say when it was because I'm probably going to get it wrong. But since we've started the annual dinner, we've been giving out this award. And I think that you and your co-honoree, Tom McGuire, for the first time are both classmates. So he was present with you as well. So talk about how cool it is to be being recognized with a fellow classmate.
Tom and I, classmates, yes. At the time, like I said, our class was just a little over 160, so it was small. And out of that, there was probably 40 boys in the class. Right. So needless to say, we were all very close.
Everyone knew everyone.
Tom and his twin brother, Stephen, who also graduated in 79.
Didn't even know that. He never even mentioned that.
They lived in Brooklyn. I used to get on the bus, and they'd be on the bus. We'd take the bus to school every day, take it home every day. And Tom was student council president.
Okay.
And we still keep in touch, actually.
Right, that's
also.
what I'm saying. It's very unique.
It's an honor to be honored with him. Great guy, also very loyal to see.
And it's cool to highlight your class. That's why I think it's interesting because, again, in the past, and again, the individuals who are picked based on criteria, and it just so happened that you guys were in the same class. So that means that's a really, class of 79 is really a powerful class.
I have to say, we do keep in touch. A lot of us, majority, of course, people have moved away, and there's always social media that people keep in touch with, but I do see a group of people every summer. So.
And you do a great job with the Facebook too and all that stuff because I know even when we were doing reunions, you're the one on there working and pressing the keys and getting stuff out. Just so you know, I haven't seen you now because in a while, but we have almost 175 booked already now. So today we're not even in April yet. So you know how this works. The majority of the invitations and the RSVPs come in last minute. So we're already ahead, which is a testament to our honorees this year, quite frankly, between you guys, Mr. Testaverde. It's great to see that you guys are bringing all the alumni and all the people out to come and pay honor to you guys. So now we'll ask the tough question. And it might not be a tough question, but what does it mean to receive the award? Because again, you imbue and embody what it is. You and Saladragna, right? I always use those two things. And I say, Saladragna bleeds blue and Karen holds it together. Like Karen's the glue in the building that keeps it straight because otherwise it would collapse. So what does it mean for you to receive this award?
First and foremost, it's an honor. C has been a part of my life from being a student there. And even when I wasn't gone from there and in the workforce, and I always read up on it and thought about it and had friends who had students there and always kept informed about what was going on. And I guess I thought to myself, I'm going to wind up there.
Yeah.
I don't know how, whether it be if my kids are students there or what have you. And like I said, There was that ad that day for a job and everything worked out. But it's truly an honor, especially because it's a place that I really hold very dear to my heart.
It's a family, right? Let's just call it what it is.
It's a family. It's always been like that. Made so many good memories. Met so many people. Like I said, lifelong friends. Yeah. Going back there now, while I was working there, even now when I go back, I see the students and I say to myself, I just hope that they come out of this with the same. Right. And I think that most of them will.
Yeah,
you could see it's quite obvious. There's so much pride and the kids are so proud. And hopefully, like myself, they'll take that with them. I take that with me every day.
It's a part of
I
it,
could be in any setting or anywhere. And if I hear C comes up, whatever, my head turns and I'm ready. I can't say enough about it. Back then, now, and of course, everybody in the building.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the building. They're all right.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had Mr. Testaverde join us last time. And he, of course, is the Founders Award recipient this year at the annual dinner. But it was a good question to ask him, and I think it's going to be equally as good to ask you because you guys have seen so much. So can you talk about the transition of St. Joe's? It seems like even right now they're doing work. Like literally as we're standing here, there's construction crews doing something. So talk about where it was even as recently as 2000 and where it was when you left in 21.
From 2000 to 21, physically, yes, a lot has been done. The beauty of the building and how it's so nice for the kids to be in that environment, learning and playing their sports and whatever they're doing. As nice as it is to me, I still go back to, not that it's the same as when I was there, because obviously it looks different, but,
but looks can always
it
change.
Still has that feeling. The improvements, as far as the school, the classrooms and everything, of course, the remodeling and all that, all the upgrades. Yes, I think that's why I always say to friends that I've graduated with, what have you, you've got to go back. If you're ever on Staten Island, you have to go back. You really need to see it. I'm actually organizing a group in August. We're going to stop in and
it's amazing when you haven't seen it in so long to come in and just go, what the heck happened here? It's an amazing thing. Talk about a little bit about what it was like, because you have multiple perspectives that I can poke at. So I can ask you about what it was like as an administrator. I can ask you what it was like about a student. Talk about what it was like as a parent, right? Because there's going to be parents and then maybe other folks watching and listening. So as a parent, clearly you're going to be a little biased, but be biased. It's okay. So talk about the experience as a parent of a student at sea.
As a parent, I could not have had my kids in a better place. And again, am I biased?
But you're allowed to be a little biased. But,
right.
But it could go the other way, not to cut you off. But you could have also been a part of the administration, been a part of the family and said, I'm never going to have my kids come here. Because it could go both ways.
No, it wasn't. And of course, both my daughters, it was up to them wherever they wanted to go.
And that's important.
They made their decision. I didn't make it for them. But I think, honestly, they saw how I was about my experience. And even my two sisters went there. One graduated 77, I was 79, and my youngest sister was 81.
Gotcha.
And it's all in the family. And like I said, as a parent, they had the best experience academically. They are thriving now.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one of your daughters is a registered nurse.
So my youngest daughter, Jennifer, she is a registered nurse at Hospital for Special Surgery.
One right.
Yeah.
I don't know what your other daughter does, though, so please educate us.
My other daughter is actually, she works for New York Presbyterian.
Got it.
She is a social media manager.
Beautiful. For
New York Presbyterian. That is their Twitter, Instagram, all their social media.
That's very cool.
When you see pieces on people who get transplants and what have you.
She's the creative mind.
Yeah. Commercials. So she is, like I said, thriving in her career, and as well as my daughter, who's the nurse.
So it's very safe to say that C did a good job with them as well, because they're in great fields doing great big things.
Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. Yes.
So before we close, is there anything I missed? Because I like to think I do a good job, but that's not always the case. So did we miss anything? Do you think there's anything else that's important that people know about St. Joe's or the experience or anything that we didn't touch upon?
Though the 4 years of your lives and your children's lives in high school, you never get them back. It's different when they go away to college. It's different from obviously when they're in grammar school. Enjoy it because it's some of the best times of their lives, and you as parents as well as the students are making friends, and it's just a great place to do that.
And I like that you mentioned that. So I was going to close, but I'm not going to, because you brought up something important. High school is supposed to be fun. And somehow it seems like everybody we have on here, and I always try and bring this point up, St. Joe's gets that rap, but like it's not fun. But that's the exact opposite, because everything that goes on in the school is geared towards the kids. The same way we get a bad rap when it comes to sports, yet when we had the AD and others who come on, or even the new football coach, and they're winning championships every year, these kids.
Yeah.
And yet people are like, oh, C's not good at sports. Oh, C's too hard. But I don't know where the stigma comes from and why we still have that.
I think that because obviously we have a high standard academically,
Right.
But at the same time, our students are at that high standard, but they still have
They're
fun.
able to do it,
They
yeah.
still do sports. They're still in clubs. They can do it. I think that it's just out there because, it's difficult.
Well, we're trying to
or
use
what
this
have
platform
you.
as something to let people know that it's not just all work. Yeah, you're going to
No,
work
and
because
like
it's high
I said,
school.
being in
but
that building-
you're going to become a well-rounded student.
Right. Being in the building for 21 years, being a parent, I've witnessed these
You've
kids.
seen things that we can't even talk about on this
see-
podcast, I'm sure.
I see the kids, and it reminds me of how it was when I was there.
Right.
Even though it was many years ago, they're having fun.
Right.
They're socializing.
They're enjoying their
They're
time together.
enjoying themselves, but at the same time, they're learning and they're interested in their academics, and I just can't say more.
They're getting the job done, but they're having fun while they're doing it. I just thought that was something important to highlight, because it's just one of those
Yeah.
things where my theory is, and you're going to high school, you're doing a job, right? You're going to high school so that
Yeah.
you can get educated and you can learn.
Right.
And you're supposed to have fun. It's the most fun you're going to have in your life.
You're never getting those
You're not
days
getting it
back.
To hear sometimes outside, they're like, oh, it's you always get out what you put in. And,
Absolutely.
And C has the infrastructure to accommodate any student of any caliber to get them and bring them into the fold and make them part of the C family. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I wasn't going to mention that. I almost forgot to say that. So once again, we are so privileged and honored to be honoring you as one of the distinguished alumni this year at the annual dinner and annual gala being held at the Old Bermuda Inn. Going to be a great night. We encourage you to follow and share this content depending on where you're looking at it or listening to it. We also encourage you to learn more about the annual dinner that's being held at the Old Bermuda Inn. You could visit josephsea.org to learn more. So Karen, congratulations once again.
you.
Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you on the 18th. I'm Anthony Rapp, and that's a wrap.